Well, hello there my fine gardening friends, how the devil are you? Welcome to a beautiful still early morning here in equally beautiful Nova Scotia. It is about 6:30 in the morning. Always like to sort of get out here before work in the morning, do a bit of work, get the body moving. There's no cloud in the sky really, I don't think. It's going to be another beautiful day. We've had some absolutely spankingly beautiful days the last couple of days. Blue skies, 20 degrees, just lovely and warm, a lot warmer than normal at this time of year. You can just hear a loon there in the background in the river behind us, and you can hear the traffic, which is about a mile away. It's amazing how sound travels when it's still like this. But we're not here to be talking about the surroundings here, other than the fact, as you can see, lots of things going on in this part of the veg garden now. We've got the asparagus just behind me, starting to stand tall, been enjoying the fruits of those popping up the last few days. Absolutely delicious. Got some onions just starting to come through now, raspberries and blackberries growing away. Got some strawberries in this bed here, and just here we've got the garlic growing really strongly, and a couple of other beds. We've got some carrots just coming through that you can't really see. But behind me I've got a bed that's got nothing in it at the moment, just some lovely soil, but I'm going to grow potatoes in there. So it's time for me to sow the potatoes in the ground. It's a funny word, that, to sow the potatoes, but anyway, that's what we're doing. What was I going to say? Yes, so it is, what is it then? So it must be like May the 12th, 13th, 14th today. So not long now until the end of frosts here in Nova Scotia, probably 2 or 3 weeks, and then the sort of chance of frost will be over. So I thought I'd plant my potatoes, and I've got Yukon Gold, lovely Yukon Gold, always a good doer for me, and produces lovely creamy potatoes. You can see a nice good one there. I could actually chop that in half, because it's got, as you can see, it's got eyes on both if I didn't have enough, but I think I've got enough potatoes here for me to get going. But I do my potatoes a bit differently to most people, and you know, normally you sort of dig a trench in the soil, and then you place your potatoes in, and then you start to earth the potatoes up, so hill them up with the soil, and then the potatoes themselves, the tubers, will grow in those potatoes, and every time, you know, it gets a little bit higher, you put a bit more earth in there, so at the end you've got a nice big mound and the potatoes are all growing inside. Well, I use seaweed. It's a sort of a Newfoundland, any sort of areas that you know, fishermen by the sea have traditionally sort of grown their potatoes that way, and I started doing it a few years ago, and found it's an absolutely wonderful way, if you get the opportunity to sort of do it, to grow your potatoes, because they come out absolutely wonderfully clean, you know, no earth all around them, and you don't lose them like you do when you dig them in, you know, fill them up, hill them up with the earth. So instead of hilling them up with the earth, I'm actually just using the seaweed. So every time the plant grows a bit higher, I put some more seaweed on top. Anyway, I thought I'd take you along while I'm just doing this now. So why don't we go and have a look, and I can do it and show you what I do, at least to start. So you have to hold my hands up here, guys. I didn't film the next bit of putting each one of the showing you how I laid the potatoes, so I'll just lift this off it here now, and as you can see, I've made a depression, just dug a slight little depression out here, and I put each one of the potatoes about a foot, couple of feet apart, and you'll see that in the next bit anyway, but I just thought I'd show you. Put that back, on to the next bit. So there we go, there is my bed of potatoes. Got quite a few in there, 3, 7, 10, 14, 17, 21, about 22 potatoes in this 4x6 bed. You might say it's a lot, but that's about what I normally put in, and they do quite well. So all I'm going to do now is get the seaweed. So obviously the seaweed, there's lots of goodness in there. I always make the joke, so I'm literally just going to put that on top of each potato. I always make the joke that it makes your potatoes come out already salted. But you know, and people worry about, oh, what about all the salt in the seaweed? You haven't got to worry about that. I never ever even bother washing my seaweed off before I lay it on the beds, whether it's mulching or anything, or doing this. The seaweed that you want to take, if you're taking it from the beach, obviously is you know, further up the beach, normally washed up by a storm, so it's, you know, it's been rained on, etc. anyway, so you ain't got to worry about that. So just laying this seaweed on top. Now, one thing you have to watch when you're using seaweed is, as it dries out a bit, it will shrink. So you want to make sure it's well watered, and also just make sure that you're continually hilling up as it sort of shrinks and covering the potatoes, because obviously they don't want to be the potatoes, the tubers that are growing, if they get light on them, then they'll become green, and obviously when they're green, they're poisonous. We don't want that, do we? So again, just making sure, like you would do, you know, when you're hilling up with earth, with the seaweed, just making sure they're fully covering the growth of the potatoes. Alright, I'll just carry on with this, and then I'll come back. Right, so there we go, all done. Looks a bit messy, a big pile of seaweed on top of the thing, but you know, like I said, all its goodness will, you know, will give the potatoes some lovely chance to grow lots of lovely tubers. And at the end of the season, I'll just sort of take a load of this seaweed off and spread it around my other beds, or put it in the compost. Absolutely superb, and it'll break down and produce wonderful compost. So that's fantastic. Like I said, I'm going to make sure now, as the plants start to grow through, you start to hill it up, so you've only got a little bit of the plant showing at the top every time, making sure you've got enough seaweed to, or making sure I've got enough seaweed to keep doing it. So regular trips down the beach, which can't be bad in the summer. Anyway, good morning. Another job done. Jobs are good.